Hi, everyone. Hopefully, your day is going all right. We are taking a look outside. We're talking about how things are developing and this storm system that's moving right over us. The snow is increasing and it's expanding across some areas of the UP. So, we're going to go over what has happened in the last couple of hours where we're sitting at right now. Take a look outside several areas for what it looks like out there for road conditions and what we can expect continuing for the remainder of today. So, first off, hopefully you're at home and you don't really have to be out and about in these conditions this morning or even later on today. And if you do, please be careful out there. So, here's the view over at Elm River Township at this moment. There it is. A very, very snowy view over in Houghton County there. You can see already some accumulation of that wet, heavy snow there. Currently 28 degrees. Here's a different view of Houghton and at the Houghton and the Ontonagon County line. Very dim. That camera is a little bit darker, but we can see that it's just all blanketed in white. It's that wet, heavy snow that we're seeing out there that's increasing. This is over in Ontonagon County as well. We've been seeing some plow trucks out there clearing out some snow and some salting roadways and things like that. But still rather snowy there. Snow's picking up on the west end. Here's the view along College Avenue. It looks like that road's been recently cleared out, but we still have that snow coming down there right now. And the winds have been increasing as well. Want to take you to Iron County now, and this is along US 141 near Luke's Road. And that's the flag off on the bottom or towards the left portion of your screen that you're seeing there right now. That's whipping around because of that wind increase there. So, more intense snow happening there right now and some reduced visibilities. Again, this is over in Iron County. A look over at Barriga County. This is near Imperial Heights Road, just off of US 41 or at that intersection of Imperial Heights Road and US 41. And for the majority of the morning, it was rain there, basically from all night, extending through about 7 a.m. or so. This was mainly rain, and we've seen that snow and rain line move into portions of Western Market County now. So now we're seeing some snow on the west end of the UP, but it's this wet slush out there on top of all of the rain that we got last night. And you can see a lot of water droplets on that sky camera there right now. Here's the view outside of the station at this moment, US 41. So basically, the majority of Marquette County is just wet right now and extending east from Marquette as well. So, wet conditions there. There's been a slow transition to snow. That was a big change in the last 24 hours, is that we were holding on to the rainfall a little bit longer, which would mean that it would take longer for that rain to transition to snow. And right now, we're still dealing with that rain outside of the station, so wet conditions. Now look out over on the far east end of the UP, over at the Mackinac Bridge. And right now, it looks like a way better story there at this moment. So there's that storm system, that area of low pressure, that actual center of low is right over the central UP right now. There's the cold fronts passing through the lower peninsula. The trough behind it's over Wisconsin. And once that low kind of shifts a little bit more east, that's when we start to notice that the winds are going to pick up. With winds picking up and that cold air coming over Lake Superior, we're going to notice that snowfall is going to increase, the winds are going to increase, and it's going to become colder. We're going to see some heavier snowfall happening. Right now, some scattered snow over into Wisconsin, and a mixture of a little rain and snow mix over into portions of the west coast of the lower peninsula. So anywhere from Traverse City on down to Holland and to Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo. Here's the UP right now, a closer look at that regional or that radar loop imagery. And we're kind of in the middle of a lull. Now that we've seen that big swath of rain for the most part shift offshore over Lake Superior. And so that intense rainfall has shifted north, which is good. We're kind of catching a little bit of a break. We still have some rain right now over Marquette County, and now that actual rain snow line has finally moved into western Marquette County. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see where that's located at. It's just past 95. So basically, it's just kind of east of 95. Michigan Highland areas, the Republic area along 95 has already seen a transition to some snow mixing in with that rain. We still have some rain over in West Ishpeming and a little bit more moderate rain kind of just west of the city of Marquette. But there's that rain snow mix line. So this is just kind of west of Snowville and east of Humboldt and Humboldt Township there. National Mine dealing with rain right now, showing up as a little bit of a mixture coming in over at Palmer along 35, down into the Gwind area, rain over in Sands along M553, rain over in Chocolate Township, more moderate rain right now near Wright Street over in Trowbridge Park, some steady rain over in the city of Marquette. Some spotty precipitation over in Delta County and into Alger County as well. Those areas catching a break from a lot of that moisture. And then more of that heavy snowfall right now showing up over in Ontonagon County. So this is right over 45. Rockland seeing that heavy snowfall as well. This is along 45 and near Greenland and along 38 there. I'll zoom out so you get a better look because I also have winds overlaid over the snow. Let me just take off that wind feature. There you go. All right. You can see the darker shades of green here again over in Ontonagon County, Rockland near Stannard. That's where that heavy snowfall's at this moment. And then east of Elm River Township, east of M26, we're seeing reflectivities of heavier snowfall. West of Baraga there, Pelkey, just south of Tapiola, west of Keweenaw, Alston, those spots. Okay, so let's take a look along the Wisconsin state line. Iron County, eastern Gogibic County waters meet seeing some of that steady wet snow coming down there right now. Iron River through Bates, west of Crystal Falls, a little batch right kind of just west of Sagola and between Crystal Falls and Sagola. All of that's going to continue to increase as that rain snow line that I already kind of pointed out is going to continue to gradually push east here throughout the next couple of hours. It's been very slow to even move into western Marquette County. In fact, around 2 a.m. this morning, that rain snow line was basically over western Baraga County. So it took about 4 hours or so to even make it near Marquette County. So it's taken a little while to do so. Okay, so that's the look at the current radar and where we're standing with that. Current wind gusts across the region, we have ranges of 35 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts anywhere between portions of northern Illinois and through areas of Wisconsin, the lower peninsula, and the UP. That matters because that gives you the view of the circulation of the winds and what's coming our way. 44 mile per hour wind gusts right now recorded over at Houghton and Hancock, similar towards the tip of Copper Harbor. Currently 41 mile per hour wind gusts over in Iron River at this moment. Your impacts. We've been talking about this extensively for a while. Travel's not going to be great, especially this afternoon and evening for those areas near Lake Superior. Slushy road conditions out there to snow-covered roads, and not just that, but also the likelihood of some whiteout conditions near Lake Superior. When we're factoring in those stronger winds, we're also looking at the potential of some power outages, as well as some down tree limbs and branches, the potential of some lakeshore flooding along Lake Superior. So I mentioned blizzard conditions likely going to continue to increase here,
especially in the afternoon, going into the evening. High snowfall rates as well. Could also even have snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour here through the lifespan of this today, extending into early tomorrow morning. So not super great for traveling in. And I know some of you folks probably do have to travel in this, and if you do, that's okay. But please be careful. Otherwise, we're asking you to avoid travel if you can, especially along Lake Superior due to that blowing snow and that whiteout potential. Here are all of the alerts across the Great Lakes, even wind advisories into Wisconsin downstate with winter storm warnings extending across some of the counties across the lower peninsula. Blizzard warnings also for northern Wisconsin and winter storm warnings there as well. Let's time out some future wind gusts across the region. This is this afternoon, ramping up in Wisconsin downstate in the UP. And then by tomorrow morning, we start to see it let up, as that center of low pressure pushes up northeast into Ontario. That strong wind flow still being out of the northwest, but not as bad as what we're expecting here in the next 12 hours or so. Closer look at today's winds here in the UP, featuring 40 to 55 mile per hour wind gusts this afternoon going into this evening. And then, as I mentioned, weakening tomorrow morning, Thanksgiving morning, ranging 30 to 45. And then by the afternoon, the ranges will be around 25 to around 35 miles per hour. So improvements will be gradual, but there will be some. And here's a hour by hour, a regional look, and we'll give you a closer look at that hour by hour as well across the UP. But again, this is time sensitive based on, the idea that some folks might be traveling, even though it's not advised. But just to give you an idea of how it looks across the region, right? Here's 6 p.m. And at that point in time, conditions improving in Wisconsin in regards to snow. However, ramping up off of Lake Michigan for the west coast of the lower peninsula. And then almost widespread across the UP late in the afternoon and evening. Going into tomorrow morning, still multiple bands of lake effect snow off of Lake Superior and off of Lake Michigan. Different story for Wisconsin, a whole lot better there as most of that snow will be over with for those areas there. By tomorrow afternoon, Thanksgiving afternoon, still some multiple bands of lake effect snow, but intensities will be lighter, more moderate across the eastern UP and generally a little bit lighter off of Lake Michigan. Again, as those winds continue to weaken. Some similar conditions going into the evening. By Black Friday, a whole lot better. We'll be in better shape. So as we head into, let me adjust this because there we go. Okay, so here closer to home, I mentioned how it's taking a little while for that rain snow line to move into Marquette County. By about midday, should be right over the heart of Marquette County, including the city of Marquette. And so that snow is going to continue to transition throughout the afternoon and evening with heavier intensities of that wet snow going into the eastern UP. There's 6 p.m. for you. Here's a look at tomorrow morning, and you can see the bulk of that very, very heavy snow will be gradually tapering off, especially in the west and central. Multiple bands of moderate lake effect still will persist in the eastern half of the UP. So here's 7 p.m. tomorrow. Way better story on the west end and across the central counties. All right, so we just got to get through basically through tomorrow morning, and we should notice some big improvements. We're not the only ones that are going to pick up some snowfall. Also, some decent snow expected inland off of Lake Michigan for the lower peninsula there. Some ranges of around 6 to 12 inches of snow in some of those places. So yeah, we're still expecting our high elevation spots of the western counties of the UP off of farther inland from Lake Superior to eventually push around 2 feet of snow, including Baraga County, or rather eastern Baraga County and the Huron Mountains, the higher elevations of western Marquette County, also pushing near 2 feet of snow in those places by the time this wraps up. So I put this out through basically Thursday night into Friday morning, okay? Around a foot of snow near Lake Superior in the northern UP is still expected, and our least amounts across the south. And that's kind of how it's been trending. That's how a lot of the projections have been showing. It looks like that's how it's going to be panning out along the Wisconsin state line. Dickinson and Menominee County is picking up the least amount of snow. In Iron County, there's going to be a sharp shift of snowfall accumulation. So, meaning that eastern Iron County, that's where they're going to have their least snowfall. That could range around 4 to 7, as compared to the northern stretches of Iron County, where that small sliver of section could be exceeding a foot of snow. All right, so you'll want to stay updated. We'll keep you updated as this system evolves and moves across the UP. We'll be giving you the changes as they, develop, and future projections as well. And you can, stay up to date on our socials, as well as through the TV6 First Alert weather app. If you're kind of looking ahead because you're thinking about, what the weekend will hold, if you're traveling throughout that time span, way better conditions than the next 24 to 36 hours, okay? Small disturbance coming in this weekend could be bringing in a few light scattered rain or snow showers. But we're also expecting very cold air, below normal temperatures. We get down into the 20s this weekend. So we're looking at a trend of low 20s to some upper 20s. Coldest conditions expected early next week, with even highs barely kind of making it out of the upper teens in some inland areas, and then lower 20s along our shorelines. At night, going into this weekend and early next week, lows will generally be in the teens, but we could see some single numbers Monday night into Tuesday morning. All right. Well, that does it. That's the update. That's how everything's looking right now, what it looks like outside, and how things are evolving, what we're expecting here in the next coming hours. So please be safe out there. If you can, just stay home. If you can't and you're near Lake Superior, just be very, very careful. Drive with caution. Make sure you have an emergency, safety go bag for your car in the event something does happen. So yeah. All right. Well, that does